Oh, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I'm Jody Misiak, and I'm so excited to be here with you. If you're new to Wow Wednesdays or have no idea what I'm talking about, WOW stands for Women's Online Wisdom, where I try to keep it about 10 minutes. Each Wednesday, I bring to you a little bit of wisdom for my own life, and at the same time, it's about motivating and inspiring you to bring the wisdom from within because you already have all the tools you need within. So I'm just here to help motivate and inspire you to live your best life. So let's get started. Actually, before we do, if you haven't watched the last two videos this month, I highly recommend you to go back after watching this one, just because there's some fun tools and awesomeness in them. So go back because this month is all about falling in love with you. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what makes you you, or like, who are you? Because now that last week you've made time for you to get to know yourself better, what do you do to get to know yourself better? I did mention a couple things already. Some of the tools that, grab a journal and things like that. So today we're really going to get into that. So what do you do? Because like I said last week, we get so busy doing and living and just going on the hamster wheel of life sometimes that we forget to dream. We forget what we really want to do with our lives or be and who and what we want to feel. We forget all those things sometimes. We just get in the state of doing. How do I know this? Because I'm guilty of this too. So it's about pausing and reflecting. And last week we talked about that a little bit, making time so you can fall in love with yourself a little bit more. So today, ask yourself, what do you love? What do you love to do? Last week I mentioned about doing self-care and that not all self-care activities are equal. You might have been confused about that if you've never followed me before. But the thing is, so I like getting massages done, or getting massages. Sometimes, like it's not a monthly thing, like maybe a couple times a year. You might love them or you might hate them. Regardless of how you feel about them, like if you love them, then you do that. You get them done. You go to the spa and treat yourself to a massage. If you don't like them, you don't do them. We all have likes and dislikes. So that's where self-care activities come into play. Like that's why every self-care activity is different, is not created equal and things like that. So how do you know what you love to do, like for self-care activities, if you've forgotten to get to know yourself, or you might have lost yourself? I know for a while there, like I wasn't sleeping when my son, like till he was 2. So, you can get caught up in life, and that is okay. But when you're ready, it's about getting back to who you are and really figuring out where you are. And if you are a parent, a mom, you can we can change too. So if you've been lost in like mommy duties or even just wife duties, like you can just get lost into roles, entrepreneur roles. I get lost in that a lot. You can get caught up in that, and we can change too. So I'm not the same person I was a year ago, definitely not a decade ago, even a week ago or a day ago. So what I liked last year, I might not like this year. And that is okay too. So this is really cool because even if you have been on your self-love journey for a while, you can always learn more about yourself, because that's why I call it a journey. I actually had a really fun thing happen to me last year. I picked up a book only because I wanted to read it to help my clients and my viewers and just help people on their self-love journey, because I thought I was at a good place. I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, I still have a lot to learn. It's never about getting to a place of done or finished or accomplished. It's a journey. Just like the sign that says happiness is not a destination, it's a way of life. So self-love, so falling in love with yourself. It's not about like, oh, I got to the finish line. It's about celebrating the small wins and the journey, because that's what it is. It's not a race. It's not a competition. It's just a fun way to live your life. So let's get back to what I'm talking about today, which is who are you? Today, take some time. If you can't do it right in this moment when you're watching this video, again, like I said last week, schedule it in, make some time for you. Hopefully you have opened some space, and this is what you could do with your date night this week, is pull out your journal and ask yourself, who are you? Like, what makes you you? I always say our uniqueness, our differences are what makes us us, and they're our superpowers. So, maybe things that you might find quirky, or like you might find like, oh, I don't like this about myself. It's your uniqueness, and it's your superpower. So, like, I like to talk a lot, if you've noticed, and it's helped me be. I've also, with that, have learned to be a better listener. So but I do. I love to talk, and I own that sometimes. So let's get back to you, though. Today, pull out your journal. If you don't have time to journal, I really encourage you to at least sit down for 5 to 10 minutes and daydream. What would you like to do with your life? Where do you see yourself going in like the next month, a year, 10? I love doing that assignment where I wrote down, what do I want to do? What will my life look like in 10 years? Or even a better one was when I wrote a letter to my 10-year, or a letter to myself from like now to myself from 10 years from now. Saying, like everything will be great. Like this is where we're at. And, all the problems you think you have, and, just things like that. So have fun with it. So you can either, just imagine what your life will look like in 10 years, write yourself a letter, or I love visualization. So you can even just lay there. If it's a nice day, you can lay outside and just look up at the clouds and daydream, or you can be inside by a fireplace covered in a blanket, because I know right around here it's kind of chilly. So whatever, again, feels right to you, right? Like this is part of falling in love with you, is getting comfortable with finding what feels good to you, like doing what is right for you, not just following somebody else's way of doing things. I have been there, and it is not fun. I spent so many years being a people pleaser that I still fall back on that sometimes, and I fell into that habit even while I became an entrepreneur. It's like, oh, so-and-so's doing it this way, I have to do it this way. Or like, and I got lost in other people's worlds. So it's about connecting to you and doing what's right for you. So daydreaming, it can be whatever feels right to you. And I really encourage you, after you're daydreaming, write down a list of things you want to do. Kind of like, you can call it a bucket list, you can call it a love list. It'd be like, I like say it was my list, like Jody's daydream list, or just, you don't even have to title it if you don't want to. Just write down things and aim for 100. I know that sounds like a lot, but aim for things that you'd like to do. We're getting close to a new year, and I'm not about setting New Year's resolutions at all, but I do like having an idea of where I want to head. So just think of this as an early getting clear with your intentions of where you want to go, because think of it more of a roadmap or a GPS towards getting to your destination. You can't get to your destination if you don't know where you're going. And I have definitely gone on a trip. It was part of our honeymoon where we knew we were going to London, England, but we didn't really have a destination. And let me tell you, that was not a pleasant experience for me. So it's good to know where your destination is, so you can plan a little bit, or at least so you know you're pointing in the right direction. Because if you're heading, you want to go, to Europe, but you're facing, north, I don't know. just getting clear on which direction. It doesn't have to be, fully detailed, just things that you'd like to do with your life. And this way it really helps open up things. Like I've mentioned before in these WOW videos this month that I am not the same person I was like a decade ago. And it's funny because we bought our house over 7 years ago. And I'm like, oh, like one, it doesn't meet the needs that we didn't have kids back then. We weren't even married then. And like I've definitely changed. Like I want to be on water and things like that. So we change. Our lives change. But that doesn't mean you can't get clear with where you are right now. And again, like first video, start where you are. And that's the same with the list today. You might look at this list like a month after you write it, and it might not, some of the things you might be like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. And that's okay. It's really just building a list so you have an idea. And it's just getting really familiar with who you are again, like writing down things that bring you joy. Because if you have gone on the parenthood journey, you might have lost sight of things that you wanted, or maybe your goals have changed because you've changed through motherhood. Maybe the things you thought were important before becoming a mom, they're not so important anymore. So if you've gotten lost in that, this list will help you get grounded and get clear on what you want to do. So I hope you have fun making your list. I really would love to hear what your lists are. Have you been able to reach 100? And again, it's just a goal to reach. It doesn't have to stress you out. And you don't have to write down 100 things all in one day. You can keep this list going for the next month or so, or year. Whatever feels right to you. So I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye, and see you next week.